What's up, guys? I'm Travis, and you're watching Upgraded RC. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're all doing good. I'm doing great. If you notice, we've got our cage and our body off of the Bomber today. It's necessary to do the upgrades that we're going to do. So I started noticing that I've got quite a bit of play in my steering up here, more than I had about a week ago. And it all comes back to the head on the servo here. I'm assuming that my gears inside the servo here have taken enough of this abuse. This RTR servo is just not quite up to it, and it's starting to get a little bit loose. Now I know if I keep going, I'm going to eventually blow this servo out. One of the gears is probably going to break or something's going to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and save this servo for something else, a little bit easier task for it. Like maybe I'll use it for our shifter for our second gear or something. But we're going to go ahead and replace this with a Reefs Raw 500 servo. I was going to do that anyway, but I think it's time now so that I can save this servo here.
Really? Okay, that's it. Oh, it's delicious. Hard stuff.
So here is your Reefs Raw 500 servo. This is the way that it comes in the case. And this raw color, not really very much to see here. Let's go ahead and flip it over. Okay, so here is the back side of the case that our servo is coming in, and this has all kinds of useful information on it. Like I said, this is the Reefs Raw 500 servo. It's a high torque, high speed brushless servo, and it is fully programmable. Now, I'm not sure what is programmable and what is not, but if you plan on doing any programming, if you come down to right here, it says fully programmable with Reefs software, and you're also going to need the Reefs link to go ahead and connect that to your PC or your laptop. I think that the link is somewhere around 15 bucks, don't quote me, and the software should be free. Now, one other thing I wanted to point out here, guys, look at this. Submarine waterproof, 7-point seals. That is amazing. I can't believe how waterproof this servo is. You should be able to drive around on the bottom of any pond and not have to worry about it too much. Now, this also has a magnetic angle sensor in it. You have pulse width modulation control. I'm assuming that's one of the things that you can program there. If we come down here, here's your input voltage, 4.8 volts to 8.4 volts. Now all of your gears inside here are steel. See, internal steel gears, and it's also all CNC aluminum casing. So this servo is going to be very, very durable. Now it's got 2 ball bearings inside of it, and the weight on it, it says the weight's 2.75 ounces. That doesn't weigh very much. Now I know this doesn't mean a whole bunch to you guys, but right here, see where it says dimensions, 1.57 by 0.79 by 1.5. This is exactly the same dimensions as our S614 Spectrum servo, except for right here where it says 0.79, our Spectrum servo is 0.78. That is not nothing at all. You won't even notice that. So this will drop right in. And then right here, here's our torque values. This is the amount of pull that we're getting off of here. At 6 volts, we're going to end up pulling 450 ounces, which is great, guys. Right now, our stock Spectrum S614 is pulling 201 ounces at 6 volts. At 7.4 volts, we're going to go to 500, and at 8.4 volts, we're going to go to 565 ounces of pull. That is amazing. Right now, we just have the stock ESC, so we'll only be able to use the 6 volts, the 450, which is still double what we have, or more than double what we have right now for stock. Now, it says right here a BEC is not required, but it's recommended for maximum performance. So eventually we'll be getting a BEC so we can run the 8.4 volts and get our 565 ounces of pull. For right now, we're just going to go ahead and stick with the stock ESC, the 6 volts, and the 450 ounces of pull should be just fabulous compared to the 201 that we got. Now here's the speeds on it. It also shows you the speed for 6 volts, it's 0.11, and for 7.4 you got 0.95, And then for 8.4, you're all the way down to 0.08 seconds. That's really fast. And right here it says spline. So the spline shaft on the servo is 25 teeth. I do happen to know that the Spectrum S614 is only 23 teeth, so you will have to get a different servo horn for that to go ahead and fit on there. And that's about it, guys. That's everything on the box here. I showed you what's going on. Let's go ahead and get these installed. And by the way, here is the servo horn I'm going to be using. This is a Vanquish Products servo horn. It's a metal servo horn. I'm not sure if it's aluminum or what it is, but here is the part number. Right here, it is VPS02410. And this is a 25 tooth spline. It accepts a 25 tooth spline, I'm sorry, and it's 24 millimeters. So that the 24 millimeters is how long it is this direction here. Now we can focus our attention on the servo. And this is going to be a pretty easy install, guys. Basically, you got these 4 Allens right here that are holding it on the axle, and this 1 Allen that removes your drag link from the servo horn. You will not need to remove the servo horn. You can leave it on there because remember our Raw 500 has 25 spline and this is 23, so it won't fit anyway. Then just go ahead and follow your wire down to the inside of your receiver, open that box up, pull this wire out, plug the new one in, and put it back together. It's not really that big of a deal.
Want to move it? No?
Once you get your 4 bolts back in your servo and you get it mounted up, before you put your servo horn on, I would go ahead and fire it all up and just move your steering back and forth a couple times. Number 1, you're trying to make sure that it works before you put it all back together. And number 2, when you move this back and forth and then release it, it's going to center the servo so that this servo spline is dead centered in the middle, so that when we put our servo horn on here, everything should line up pretty good. Then we can do our trim adjustments. And if you're way off on your trim adjustment and your servo horn ends up being way over here, then you can just pull it back off and fix it after that and adjust your trim again. But I like to start with the servo dead center. That way I know I'm in a good spot and I have equal left and right. All right, well, that was a pretty easy install as well. So well, that's pretty much going to wrap up this video on upgrade number 4. Now, upgrade number 5, I'm not going to tell you guys what that is yet because I'm not exactly sure. I got some ideas, but it depends on which parts come in and which ones don't. That's kind of going to dictate what our next video is going to be. Now, I know all you guys probably know what's going on here, so I didn't show you in the beginning. But for anybody who does not know or you're new to this bomber, this is so easy to get this cage and this body off. Basically, you've got 3 Allens right here on the bottom that to secure to your slider, basically. You have those on both sides, and then you have 2 more Allens right here under your battery cover. So there's 8 Allens total. If you take all those out, and then you go ahead and remove your shock, you can either remove it from the bottom or the top mount, or just take the whole thing off, and that will let your cage come right off with the body, and everything is just easy peasy. Now, if you do have an anti-sway bar on the back, you'll have to release the connection for that as well. But that's pretty much it. It comes right off. This is probably the easiest RC that I've ever worked on. I love this platform. They just did such a good job, so it's easy to work on, and I think it's great, guys. I have no problems with it whatsoever. So anyway, guys, why don't you go bash and crawl and rock race and jump and crash and go do whatever it is that makes you happy until our next video, upgrade number 5, which is coming up just right around the corner. Guys, I am Travis. You're watching Upgraded RC. Peace out.
see smoke